Today I want to talk to you about demonstrative evidence. My name is Dallin Fuchs. I'm a partner at Queller, Fisher, Washer, Fuchs & Cool. We're a trial attorney firm dealing with very serious personal injury cases in the state of New York. And I want to talk to you about what we call demonstrative evidence, which is any type of evidence at trial that you want to show to the jury to make it easier for them to understand whatever concept you're talking about. And today, the type of demonstrative evidence I want to talk about is the type of demonstrative evidence we use to illustrate and allow them to better understand certain injuries that our clients have sustained at trial. When we're trying cases in our particular law firm, we're usually dealing with very, very serious personal injuries. So it's most common that we have orthopedic surgeons, if it's an orthopedic injury, coming in at trial trying to explain to a jury certain concepts and aspects of injuries. Well, this can be difficult to understand. So we use demonstrative evidence, or what we call medical legal art, where a company works with the doctor and they look at the x-rays, they look at the pre-surgical and post-surgical results, and they make these great medical illustrations that make it so easy, or so much easier, for a jury while the doctor's on the witness stand showing them the legal art for them to understand exactly what these injuries are about. So let me show you some examples of this great medical legal art that we use as demonstrative evidence to help our juries, when we're trying cases, understand what type of serious injuries our clients have suffered. So here are some smaller size samples of the legal art. Keep in mind that at trial, these are blown up and framed and are much bigger and easier for the jury to see. But here what we have is what we call a transverse femur fracture. Femur is one of the biggest bones in the body. It's between the knee and the hip. And here you can see that there was what we call a displaced fracture, where the bone was almost completely broken and displaced through. And it was fixed with what we call an open reduction, and a rod and screws which were placed into the fracture during the surgery. And this is an illustration of the actual surgery that was done. It's actually based on the x-rays, the before and after x-rays that were taken of this particular client before and after the surgery. And you can see the actual type of screw and rod and pins that were put in place during the surgery. And this would be used during the trial while the orthopedic surgeon was on the stand to basically do a demonstration for the jury to show them what type of surgery he did. Here's another medical illustration that we used at trial as demonstrative evidence. This was a woman that sustained a very bad hand and wrist fracture, and it was comminuted, which means that the fracture was in multiple pieces and it was displaced. And it shows basically the surgery and the progression of the surgeries that she needed. And you can see from the medical illustration that she needed what's called, at first, an external fixation device to what we call fixate the fracture. And thereafter, she had what's called an open reduction with an internal fixation, where actually there was hardware that was placed internally inside the fracture. And again, these can be difficult concepts for juries to understand, so this was explained to the jury with an orthopedic surgeon who actually did the surgery on the witness stand, explaining to the jury each step of the surgeries that he performed on this client. Here's an example of another medical illustration which we used at trial to illustrate to the jury the severity of an injury and the progress of a particular client. This injury involved what we call a calcaneal fracture, which, in fact, this client fell from a scaffold and had multiple fractures to his heel. That's the calcaneus, the heel. And as you can see in this particular medical illustration, you have the actual before surgery x-rays and after surgery x-rays that were taken, and they're actually on the medical illustration. So the before surgery x-rays, you have the picture of the actual x-ray, and then you have the actual medical illustration showing the condition before the surgery and after the surgery. And then you have the post-accident x-ray and the medical illustration showing the screws as they're shown in the x-ray and how the surgery was performed. And again, this is shown as demonstrative evidence demonstrating to the jury the severity of the injury and the course of treatment and surgery that the client went through, while the orthopedic surgeon is actually testifying to the jury and using it to show the jury and help them understand exactly what this person went through and what they're likely to go through in the future. And we feel that this is a very effective technique for our clients in terms of maximizing a jury verdict, to really allow a jury to give a fair and adequate verdict for the types of injuries that our clients sustain. I'm sure you have questions regarding these types of injuries and how the trial process proceeds. Call us. We're here at Queller Fisher to answer any and all questions that you have. Thank you for watching.